Ever since Lionel Messi handed in a transfer request, the city of Barcelona has been thrown into chaos. If the Champions League humiliation at the hands of Bayern Munich was not enough, the Catalonians now have to deal with the added pressure of their greatest ever player wanting out. While Josep Maria Bartomeu is loath to part ways with the club's most important player, the club president only has himself to blame. In a bid to establish his own legacy at the club, Bartomeu ended up doing the club more harm than good. No matter how many times we say it, it won't be enough. La Blaugrana spent millions of dollars on expensive flops in a bid to conquer Europe like they used to almost 7 years ago. While it did work for a while, spending on expensive acquisitions was always going to catch up to them. Today, Barcelona are a shell of their former selves. Gone are the days when the sight of Messi and company would cause panic among opposition ranks. This Barcelona side seems fragile, bereft of confidence, and clearly demotivated. Opponents don't see Messi as the man to drag them to the finish line. The Argentine wizard is a class above most, but he cannot arrest this downward spiral. Just a year on from almost winning the treble, Barcelona finished this campaign without a trophy, the first time something like this has happened in 12 years. Ahead of the Champions League encounter with Napoli, Messi had already hinted at his unhappiness at the club. If we want to fight for the Champions League, we will have to change a lot, because otherwise the match against Napoli, we will lose that as well. There are a lot of problems with the club at the moment, and most of these problems have been in the making for a number of years. Initially, the maladies were controlled through stopgap measures, but now whole-scale changes are needed. The club as an institution has failed, and the shambolic display against the Germans further intensified calls for a change in how the club is being run. This is the sort of fall from grace no one ever imagined, but has been a long time coming. When Neymar was sold to Paris Saint-Germain in 2018 for a world record fee, the onus was on the club to bring in a capable replacement. That wasn't done. Many players were brought on to replace the Brazilian, but have not been able to shine in a similar manner. The club had been chasing Antoine Griezmann for a number of years and only signed him for €120 million last summer. The move was supposed to be another chapter in the Frenchman's successful journey, but sadly, the experienced forward had been confined to a bench role. Gerard Piqué, Sergio Busquets, Luis Suarez, they're well in their 30s, but did the club ever try looking for long-term successors? Aymeric Laporte was linked with a move to Camp Nou, but the Frenchman eventually ended up signing for Manchester City, a club that's been very proactive in its overall approach. Off the field, the club's problems have continued to exacerbate. Politically, the club has done a great job in alienating its players. Following the sacking of Ernesto Valverde in February, Eric Abidal's comments about the player's commitment were not received well by Messi, who ended up issuing a public rebuke to his former teammate. But leaving that issue aside, can anyone make head nor tail of the decision to fire Valverde when Barcelona were at the top of the table? Even now, the club is completely rudderless. With the presidential elections coming up next year, a lot of political point scoring is happening, which further weakens the club. Victor Font, Bartomeu's rival candidate, has already said that he wants to bring in former player Xavi Hernandez as the manager. The Barcelona great chose not to join earlier this year, which was why Quique Setién was thrust into action, but Font has not shown himself to be the greatest hope for the club. Once Ronald Koeman was announced as Setién's successor, Font went on record to say that regardless of how many trophies the Dutchman wins, he would not be the club's manager if he was the president. Do statements like these help the club? Is someone who considers himself Barcelona's well-wisher would actually go on and make things difficult for a new manager who's only just joined the club? Statements like these don't really put Font himself in a good light, so the presidential candidate really needs to be more careful about what he says in front of the public. Initially, it was thought that Messi decided to leave the club because of Bartomeu's presence and the damage he's caused. However, the Argentine is going to leave regardless of who's running the club. Clearly, the club legend knows that a change in president isn't going to turn things around. Now, Barcelona are in a predicament. Their financial situation isn't precarious, but not the sort that would command confidence either. Messi has asked to be released from his contract. Barcelona claim that the clause that allowed him to leave for nothing has expired, so would want interested clubs to pay €700 million to sign their legend. On the other hand, keeping Messi, a man who has been fiercely loyal to the club for more than a decade, at Camp Nou by force, would not go down well with the player or anyone. After all that he's done for the club, Messi deserves something in return, and if his heart is set to leave for now, the club shouldn't stand in his way either. And if Barcelona and Messi go to the courts over this, it would be another sad episode in the club's history. We all know who's going to come out on top from this situation, and it's not Barcelona. Messi is the club's darling and will forever remain that silent guardian who protected the club in the worst of times. But it's gotten to a point that the legend himself cannot cure this ailing institution. Bartomeu went about trying to make his own legacy at the club. He wanted to be remembered as the club's greatest ever president, but even those with the best of intentions have done the worst possible acts throughout history. The club's president has frustrated and angered Messi to a point from where there's no coming back. This is Bartomeu's legacy. But keeping his track record in mind, Bartomeu is not going to allow Messi to walk away for nothing without putting up a fight. The club's president, for the sake of his already tarnished reputation, simply cannot afford to let the club's greatest player leave. Some might not like it, but Barcelona under the current presidency could even shape circumstances in such a manner that it would all look like Messi's fault. Only this time, it won't work. Everyone, from the club's staunchest supporters to neutrals to those who hate the club, know what Messi has done for Barcelona, and no one would ever blame the player for wanting to leave. Some say that Barcelona would never be the same again if or when Messi leaves. Well, they're not the same to begin with. Statements such as "no man is bigger than the club" make no sense here either. This will be one of the longest drawn sagas in football history, and no matter which way it goes, one thing is for sure: Barcelona are not going to be winners at this either way. Messi leaves and Barcelona would still be in an embarrassing position. They force Messi to stay and honour his contract, and they'll see their captain attract worldwide sympathy. Moreover, Barcelona will attract a lot of criticism from all quarters for this. Barcelona are a giant that's in decline, and mincing words here wouldn't change the fact. Those in charge have been very negligent of how such an esteemed institution should be run, and it's the fans, the players, the coaches and the club's prestige that's taking the hit. While every club does go through a period of transition every few years, not every club has the capacity to create a huge drama out of such a scenario. Barcelona failed to contain the situation and allowed it to grow into a PR fiasco that we're watching from a safe distance. Real Madrid were also going through a period of transition when Zinedine Zidane left. However, Los Blancos were still able to control the situation by bringing Zidane back, while also giving him all the backing he needed to get on with his role. Real Madrid are now the champions of Spain, have a great young squad, and are going to invest in the right players again. Barcelona, on the other hand, have an ageing squad, a bloated wage bill, failed transfers, and a can of worms that is their boardroom. At present, Miralem Pjanic is set to play his first season in Spain, and the Bosnian would be expected to deliver from the get-go. But how can anyone expect a new signing to get used to the surroundings when nothing at the club seems stable at the moment? Want to know how we never miss a match? With Fubo TV, you can stream any game, anytime, anywhere. Use our link in the description to start for free and watch your favourite teams live.